We now have the complete list of heroes for each of the 6 factions, and whether or not you agree with where these heroes are placed, we can start to theory craft and build teams around these factions. Each of these has holes, and these holes need to be filled by heroes from other factions. My good friend Assassin from Elysium 2 over on server 136 has been putting together a great spreadsheet breaking down every hero in the game, which you should level, which you should skip. And now that we have this list of factions, which is going to determine how people build teams going forward, let's see how it lands on that chart. We can find out who the big winners are, who the big losers are, and what each faction needs in order to be successful. You can also kind of use this to guess the new heroes that are coming in the future. As we discuss each individual faction, keep in mind where the shortcomings are and start thinking about ways that you can swap in other heroes into these factions in order to fill those gaps.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
What is up, heroes of Dominion? My name is Charlie. This is Hero Wars Central, and in today's video, we're going to discuss the best heroes to level up given this new faction information that we have on the game of Hero Wars Mobile. Generally speaking, what I tell every new to mid-level player is pick a tank, pick a damage dealer that you like, and pick a couple of supports that you like, and you're probably going to be fine. Now, that's going to get you through 90 to 95% of the game. However, if you're looking for that top end, that top 5, top 10%, quote-unquote meta teams, best combinations, all of that, then you need to dig a little bit deeper. And while this chart by Assassin, by the way, if you want to chat with Assassin, you can find his information down there in the bottom right-hand corner of the Discord. No guarantee he'll answer, but this is who made it for me. This is as good a chart as any. Taking a look at the different heroes, let's break down the categories. First, you have tanks, you have off tanks, you have backline supports, you have mid supports, you have backline DPS, midline DPS, frontline DPS, and then damage support. Now, you can disagree or agree with these categories. That's fine. You can make your own chart. That's fine. I'm not saying that this is the end all be all. This is just one that was put together, and I think it's as good as any. But based on this chart, based on where each individual hero lands in this discussion, in these 9 categories, we can kind of break down each of the factions individually and talk about what each are missing and which ones are pretty good. So starting from the top, the Way of Eternity. This was the undead tribe. It did consist of Corvus, Morgan, Kira, Phobos, and Faceless. It was given Kark and Dante. I'm not really sure why they fit thematically in with those, but it is what it is. What you're missing here are supports. If you look at the damage supports, you do have Faceless, but aside from the Eternity tag, Faceless doesn't really support those other heroes. Of course, Kark and Faceless are a combo, sure. You have Morgan for mid supports, you have Phobos for backline supports, but those are all pretty niche support heroes, and it's because of that I feel like the Eternity tribe needs more support. Corvus is a fantastic tank. You have some fantastic damage dealers in here. The Way of Nature. This was the Elf tribe. Aurora, Alvanar, Darkstar, Kai, and Thea were the originals. They gained Chaba, Elmir, Zhu, Mojo, and Yasmin. This is one of the 2 tribes that people are really upset about the hero selection. For example, they think that Orion should be in here and Yasmin should be elsewhere. Potentially Zhu and Mojo should be elsewhere. I'm not sure how Chaba and Elmir fit in with the nature aesthetic, but again, there's going to be situations like this all throughout. Taking a look at the chart, there really isn't much in the way of a backline for any of the nature stuff. You have Thea being a backline hero, which of course is a solid choice, especially paired with Alvanor and Alvanor's healing boost abilities. Of course, you have Mojo, and he's super effective against the Hydra, so he's leveled up for that reason, but you don't often use him in team building. There's no backline DPS at all, which is going to limit your team structure options. So yeah, that's the big hole, the variety of backline heroes. So if you're building a nature team, maybe the backline would be one of those heroes that you could swap in and out. So taking a look at backline DPS options, you could absolutely add in a couple of these where they fit. You might not get the most effectiveness out of the tribe benefit there, but this is one option that you could add in. You could add in more backline support. Again, Mojo being the only backline support option available. You could add in a couple of other heroes that may mesh. So again, guys, the purpose of this video is to discuss the holes in each individual faction and where you could find options elsewhere, which would then kind of let us know which heroes in that tribe have the options of being swapped in and out. But one thing is for sure, the thing that is missing from all of these factions is you smashing that like button. I just need you to caress it just a little bit. That's all you need to do. It takes 2 seconds. It's absolutely free. Click that like button. Thank you. And now for the Way of Honor. This is the Blessed tribe initially. Now it's more of an honor tribe. You have Galahad, Luther, Tristan, Marcus, Cornelius, Helios. These were the original Blessed heroes. I think maybe Artemis was even a Blessed hero. I can't actually remember, but they gained Artemis, Qingmao, and Ishmael, whatever the case. The biggest holes in the Way of Honor tribe is that they're missing some strong damage dealers in the middle and back, and they don't have much supports at all. Honor has got 2 great tank options, as well as a couple of great off-tank options. In fact, 3 off-tank options. You have Helios for your backline, which needs to be paired with Orion very often. Sometimes can be on his own, but without enough magic penetration, Helios just doesn't do the job. Cornelius recently got that rework, but I don't think he's very necessary of a hero, and you can see that Assassin here agrees. There's no mid support, there's no backline damage dealers, there's no midline damage dealers. You have 1 frontline damage dealer aside from Qing Mao if you want to call her a damage dealer. And as far as damage support, you really only have the 1 in Artemis. Honor is really missing damage dealers. So you could kind of piece together a couple of damage dealer teams using some of the options that we discussed. You can use some combination of like Tristan and Helios to make it happen. But the other Honor, DPS, Ishmael, and Artemis, these are very forgettable heroes that I wouldn't recommend anybody level for super high-end play. If you're looking for some holes to plug in the Way of Honor, adding additional DPSs to fit in with the existing tanks and supports, that would be the way to go. The next tribe on the list is the Way of Progress. This is the biggest tribe. This was the Engineer tribe. They had Isaac, Ginger, Fox, Astrid Lucas, Daredevil, maybe Arachne. I'm not sure exactly how many were in there either, but they gained quite a bit. Sebastian Jet, Judge, Nebula, and Orion. Thematically, I'm not sure why Nebula and Orion fits here. Get it in a way, you know, it's a robot. Nebula and Orion kind of go together, but I think it's a stretch. Orion could fit elsewhere. Nebula could fit elsewhere. A couple of these heroes could fit elsewhere, but I believe this is the largest tribe. The biggest holes in the Way of Progress is the absolute lack of tanks. There are no tanks at all. Not a single tank. In fact, there are no off tanks. There are no off tanks either. So I believe that the next hero that they add to Hero Wars Mobile is going to be some kind of tank or off tank for the Way of Progress faction, but also adding in tanks to that lineup would be the most beneficial way to plug a hole. If you really love the Way of Progress, if you love the heroes in the Way of Progress, then you're going to need to consider other tank options. I see a very common one in this one being Invari, solid off tank choice. Of course, you could use Galahad or Cleaver. You could use just about any of the main tanks to fit in there. The Way of Chaos is probably the most complete faction of the entire list. This was the second most recent faction added to the game, so it and the Way of Mystery probably benefited a lot from trial and error, learning from the mistakes of the first 4 tribes or factions. The Way of Chaos has amazing tanks, a couple of really amazing damage dealers. If I had to choose something that it was short or that it had holes in, you could probably talk about maybe some off tanks if you really needed it. It's also missing a little bit of variety in the middle. Really all you have in the midline is Jorgen. Both the front line and the back line heroes are pretty stacked, so I guess it's possible if you're looking to add heroes to this to flesh out a Chaos tribe team, you'd probably want to add some midline stuff. Mid support has a ton of options. Midline damage dealers, there really aren't that many that fit in with this tribe. If and when they tweak factions in the future, adding and removing heroes, changing abilities up, I believe that Chaos is going to be one of the last ones they touch. I think that of all of the 6 tribes, the Chaos tribe is the most complete. And then finally, the Way of Mystery. This is the newest tribe that was added. Rufus, Ziri, Amira, Satori, Martha, and Celeste were the original Mystic heroes. They added Heidi, Invari, Leon, and Maya. The Way of Mystery overall is missing some damage supports. They've got a strong tank lineup in Ziri, Rufus, and Invari. You're often going to find Celeste being used elsewhere, but Celeste is a mystery hero and she is a midline, but aside from that, that's really all they've got. They have no backline DPS, which is going to limit your build options, so this is a prime location to swap heroes in and out to add to your mystery team. No midline DPS. You do have Heidi, but not a lot of people build Heidi teams. There is some effective teams with Heidi, but again, no midline DPS options means that this is another great opportunity to swap heroes in from other factions to make this work. So those are the holes that the mystery team has. Another big shout out to Assassin over on the Elysium 2 guild on server 136 on mobile. Based on his notes, every single faction has some pretty glaring holes and weaknesses in them. You can definitely start to get the feel for which heroes are going to be released in the very near future. One last time, I want to say that this list of faction members is potentially subject to change. I think it's pretty set in stone at this point, but it is possible that it will change. So please, 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 please do not change your leveling strategy or level any heroes on this list because of other heroes until this actually goes live. We don't know what they can change between now and then. And the last thing that I want you guys to do would be to drop leveling one tank and start leveling another just because it doesn't fit with your faction. They could pull a fast one on us and shake this up completely, or maybe not even implement this for another 3 to 6 months. Who knows? Hope everybody's having a fantastic new year so far. I love you all. Good luck in Dominion.